to an episode of Into the Otakuverse via Box Office QBs. I'm Gerald, and along with me is nobody because we're doing this one all alone, and that's okay. We're not doing a review, actually. We've already done our Kaiju number 8 review, so if you've seen that one, go watch it now. We've actually done 2, so make sure you get onto those. And if you haven't seen Kaiju number 8, make sure you watch it now. And if you ever decided to want to get into manga reading, now is a good time to do it with Kaiju number 8, as there was only 111 chapters, and that is what we're going to be talking about today as we get into its theories, conspiracies, whatever you want to call it, my predictions for how Kaiju number 8 will unfold. There's tons of things we don't know from the in the anime part of it yet. Tons of things that we haven't really unfolded or got into in the manga part of it yet. I've done both. I've watched the anime twice. I've even gotten to read all 111 chapters of the manga, so I'm excited to talk about it today. This is something we're going to continue doing in the future. Hopefully, I'm going to have my buddy Derek come on. We're going to have some discussions about Dragon Ball, maybe some arguments about Naruto or One Piece or Assassination Classroom. Tons of different manga and anime to talk about. We're going to get into it. We're also going to talk about Demon Slayer coming up soon. But so instead of talking about all that, though, we're going to jump right into Kaiju number 8. Now, I think the biggest question in Kaiju number 8 right now, and has been really since the beginning, is what exactly or where does Kafka's powers come from? We know to an extent what they do. We knew to an extent how they work. We even know in the manga, spoiler alert, that he gets to a point where if he continues using it, parts of his body will not return to human form. They're just stuck as kaiju. So that's an interesting part. We know a lot about that, but what we don't know is where it comes from. Why it's here, why it chose him, or why in that first episode at the end you have a parasite saying "found you" to Kafka in the hospital bed next to Ichikawa. And I have a theory for that. I have a theory that I've seen a little bit of it kind of tremor online, but after reading, I want to say it was chapter 66 of the manga, and then also the latest chapter, chapters 110 and 111 of Kaiju number 8. I feel like I'm ready to come out here on the internet and tell you what this theory is. And I'm going to use some evidence to prove what it is. I think Kaiju number 8, the parasite, is a parasite that has been around for centuries in this universe and has the ability to mate or pair with a human and to help them take down massive kaiju threats that a human would not be able to do without said power. So what we do know about the kaiju universe so far, we know that kaijus have been around for hundreds of years, at least since the samurai times, because that's where Hoshin and his family has their sword art kind of recognized from. So we know that they've been doing this for a while. We know that they haven't always used guns, and that kaijus have the bigger ones, the numbered kaijus, have been turned into weapons as of late to help them fight bigger ones. So that's a newer invention in the last 15 to 20 years or so. So characters like Mina wouldn't have existed early on in these times. But how did humans ever fight these big ass kaijus? We've seen pictures in the manga a little bit showing it, and my theory, saying that a parasite has been here, is the answer to that question. You got a parasite that has been pairing with them, taking over and giving some of these humans abnormal or crazy powers to take down said kaiju. And then the parasite goes and dies off and doesn't come back. And then we can talk, why a parasite though? Why do we think kaijus are parasites? Well, if you look, and they kind of explain it in the manga, but also in the anime, that opening song is showing the beginning of kaiju, how something happened in the core, turning these big animals or these small animals into giant monsters that can come out through the crust and just destroy humans. That's what that's showing that it was a genetic thing that turned these into kaiju, therefore making the possibility of a kaiju parasite that can pair with humans a very real possibility. Now, proof point number 2 is something we get at the end of Kaiju number season 1, Kaiju number 8 season 1. And that's whenever Kafka's fighting Shinomiya, director Shinomiya. Now you notice when Kafka faces Kaiju number 9, or when he sees Shinomiya in his Kaiju number 2 outfit, that you end up you get a different Kafka, a Kafka that's not in control, one that loses its shit. However, when he's seeing humans, or when he's fighting humans, he's fully in control of the body. He knows how to stop it from overpowering or hurting Hoshina, or how to only avoid attacks and not to respond with an attack. Tons of little things like that. But whenever Shinomiya, and then actually you see it again with Shinomiya, even when Shinomiya comes in and shoots Kafka, unloads bullets into him, Kafka changes and is able to protect himself, but he's in control. It's not until director Shinomiya takes out his briefcase holding number 2 and puts it on, activating Kaiju number 2's chakra, if you will, and bringing to attention the Kaiju number 8 parasite, saying Kaiju kill, or kill Kaiju, however you read it. It's right to right, left in the manga, but it's Kaiju kill. Activating it, and then from that point on in the episode and in that fight, Kafka has trouble fighting. Kafka has trouble controlling the kaiju because the kaiju is sensing a giant kaiju threat that humans shouldn't be able to take down, about to threaten the world. So that's my proof point number 2. Proof point number 3 is going to be is in chapter 66 of the manga. I want to say that, or 64, but in this, again, spoilers if you haven't read it, but in this part of it, Kafka already is about to train with Hoshina whenever he sees a flashback of some sort, or a ghostly samurai staring at him in the face before walking off, and Kafka goes, "What was that I saw?" Now, I believe this was hinted at in the anime, and even in season 1. I believe. I could be completely off base. But this is another hint that's showing, I believe, a past user of the Kaiju number 8 parasite. Maybe someone related to Kafka. Maybe that's why he was being found. Or maybe Kaiju was just looking for a very specific DNA sequence to match with. Mind you, these numbered Kaiju can match with humans with specific DNA sequences. So, again, the DNA sequence storyline, makes sense in this universe. So if you want to go even further, stage 4, at the end of chapter 111, which just came out in the beginning and middle of July, Kafka is fighting Kaiju number 10, and at this point, he's losing his shit. He's going crazy. He's trying to protect Mina. He's fighting next to Mina's side. And Kaiju number 10 stops and is like, "Oh, so you're that type of Kaiju." That type of Kaiju. That's what leads me to believe that it might not be a parasite that has been passed down for generations and generations, but it is a type of parasite meant to pair with humans, meant to save humans and keep them from going extinct to the kaijus. So that is what I believe Kafka's powers truly are. I think those will unfold in a very interesting way. I would love to see the My Hero Academia one for all for one type of way, where he gets to use powers or gets to use experiences from past Kaiju number 8 users to help him get better in his battles. I think this is a perfect way to really slow down the pacing of Kaiju number 8 as well. Some people have noted that Kaiju number 8 in the manga, I mean, we're at 100, chapter 111, and in the anime, I think they're up to about chapter 42, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 38. So they're about up to halfway where they're at. That means they can go up to 3 seasons. I think, in particular, season 2 is going to deal with how the new team, old team members have kind of been spread around. We're going to have Kafka with his new team and Shinomiya with the team as well, getting better training arc, a little bit of that, while we ramp up to that big battle that we're getting currently in the 100s of the manga. It's a big war, much like one of those, every big war you get in some of the big animes. Just very interested to see how this turns out. But I think you slow down the story by not ending the war, but by giving Kafka a lot of time to kind of go deep into the parasite's history. Maybe the war gets put on hold somehow. Maybe Kaiju number 10 escapes in this big battle. But we're already at a point where Kafka and Mina are fighting side by side, where Shinomiya is making her family proud and wearing her mother's uniforms, where Ichikawa even is doing amazing shit. So I think that to really slow down the pacing, we need to dive into what this parasite means, both in the manga and in the future of the anime. And I'm excited to see what they do here. So what's your theory? Again, my theory is that the Kaiju number 8 parasite has been around for centuries, been helping humans out secretly. Maybe it's been a little bit of a secret. Maybe it's just been so long since a threat this big has come out. The last threat could have been a samurai. That's why nobody knows, because there were no records. Records were harder to keep at that time. Could be very interesting. So let me know, what are your predictions for Kafka and Kaiju number 8? And as the manga comes out, there's another manga, I think, coming out early August. So we're excited to see where they go with that. Maybe they'll dive into the parasite. I hope so. And if they do, I'm going to come onto this podcast to tell you I was right. But make sure you follow us, Box Office QBs, on social media, to the Otakuverse. We'll continue making fun little videos like this. Yeah. See y'all around. Let your nerd shit fly, bruh.